All right, all right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Coffee Q&A, your daily dose of coffee Q&A here on the Onocoffee Channel. I'm your host, and today it's December 31st, on New Year's Eve. And for some of you, I know it's already like way late in the day, and it's almost the new year for you. So Happy New Year to all of you. See all of you. Thank you for tuning in. And I'll get this out of the way right away. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you being here, not just today, but every day that you come in and supporting the channel and watching and supporting me. I really appreciate that. It is an honor for me to spend time with you and to have your support. Is really, really, really amazing. And I just want to say thank you, especially as we move to the new year in 2026. So I kind of feel parched. I can drink water, but I have no water. I don't have water here. We'll drink some of this old boiled water. So how's it going? That's better. The Espresso Bikes is here. What's going on, man? How are you? Naomi? Hi, Naomi. Maku's with us as well. Maku, Mom. And Kent is here too. How's it going? Hope you all are doing great today. So today I thought we'd do a little bit of something kind of fun but I could have sworn that we did this in the past. But I look back to a year's worth of live streams and I didn't see anything. Maybe I missed it, but I didn't see it. But for Christmas, my friend Matt was really great. He was up with his family. They went to HersheyPark. And if you remember last year, we did our video. We did the coffee bar tours video at HersheyPark. And so he was up there again and brought this back for me for Christmas, the big Hershey Kiss, which, I used to see this years ago, and I think you could only get this at HersheyPark, or you can buy it online if you want. So I do have a link down below. But if you want to buy from anywhere else, they have a 7-ounce version of this, and it's this is a pound. This is a pound of Hershey's chocolate that is just an epic thing. Although I must say that the more that I've seen this in person, the smaller it seems to get. Like at one point in time, it seemed massive. Maybe when I was a child, it was massive, but now it's I wish it was bigger. Give me a 5-pound version of it, right? That would be kind of interesting. Marcus says, thank you for doing the deal. Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. So we're going to get into this, but we're not just going to get into eating the kiss, but how can we utilize the kiss to make our mocha? Right, because I do have some milk here. This is the same milk that we used the last time. And here's the interesting thing. I was tasting it this morning because I was like, oh man, do I need to run to the farm store and buy more milk? So this is from Wegmans, and I don't know who Wegmans is using, but they're using somebody serious, right? Because man, this is Wegmans milk. A lot to you, Keone. Sawadi PP. I don't know what that. I say, sawadi, but I don't know the P my part. But here's an interesting thing. Look at this. This is sell-by date of December 21. And the last time we talked about this, I mentioned that when you're dealing with a lot of farm fresh milk from small producers, sometimes the milk doesn't last to the date that's printed on here. Now, if you sell-by date, you typically want to keep it no more than 1 week, 7 days at the most, before it starts to turn sour. But yesterday I was like, do I need to buy milk? Smells okay. The smell test is the ultimate test. Then you taste it and it's still good, still good. In a commercial environment, we never have this issue, right? We would pound through it pretty rapidly, especially if it was a sell-by date rather than a use-by date. And there are differences, right? Use by date really means you need to use it by that point, but sell by date just means they need to get it out of the store, which is why I say it typically will last another 7 days. But now we're 10 days. And I don't recommend doing this right now. I'm only doing this because I'm cheap and I didn't want to go out and buy more milk, especially when there's almost half a gallon left. And don't do this. Don't do this at home. Don't do this anywhere. I would never do this in a commercial environment. This would have been tossed a week ago, maybe half a week ago, right? So, but if you keep good refrigeration, you keep it fairly contained, you could get away with it. There's not really anything happening in here that's untoward. No chunkiness, no sour notes. And then I even tasted it, and it tasted perfectly normal. So we're going to use this milk to make mochas with and use our big kiss. So Milton Hershey, did you know Milton Hershey, the Kisses? Now, if you go to the encyclopedia, I forgot to grab it, but there's a big book on chocolate. And it is the tome of chocolate. Like if you were serious about chocolate, like this is something you can't really find in a bookstore necessarily. Like it's not a normal book for chocolate. Like it's not a chocolate lover's book. It's like a chocolate resource. Like it's this big orange, burnt orange covered book. And it lists all these chocolatiers and chocolates from around the world. And they give it ratings. And Hershey's chocolate is rated pretty poorly. Like it's very low in the qualitative scale of chocolates worldwide. I can't remember the name of this book, but it's not well regarded. So, but that being said, I love it. Like I can't get enough of it. Like the problem with getting into woodworking was that a year ago at the Woodcraft, my local Woodcraft, one of the owners, Laura, had a little Christmas tree ornament, like one of those wood Christmas trees, and it's meant to put little Hershey Kisses on the tree. And I was like, oh, Hershey Kisses, I had one. Man, it just reawakened my love for Hershey Kisses, and I've just been tearing through them for the past year, and I'm like, oh, I need to have more. Like, it's terrible. It's terrible. So we're going to get into this and break it up. Naomi says, I don't know, that kiss looks pretty big. It's pretty big. No, and don't get me wrong. I know I said I want it bigger, but like, it's one of those things where like, you know how you get like, you get like, oh, this is big, right? You're like, this is big, it's big, it's big. And then you're like using it for a while, or maybe you have something that's big and you're like, I'm big, right? And then you kind of like use it. And then after a while, it doesn't seem so big anymore because you're just used to it, right? It's becoming more common. That's really what I mean. It's like, I mean, it's almost as big as my head. So it's pretty big. I would just like it to be bigger, right? Oh, it means Happy New Year in Thai. I know, you're almost time there, I know. Coffee Cove, good morning to you. So here's the thing. So disappointingly enough about this, like, wow, this is awesome. And I remember I used to look at this at the stores, like at HersheyPark, and I was like, one day. And that day came, and I was like, it doesn't feel as heavy as it would if it was, at least it doesn't feel as heavy as I thought it would if it were solid. Like, if you know how kisses are solid? Like, if this was solid, that would be like, I was like, oh my God, it's a solid piece of kiss. Like, crazy. Now, it's not solid. It is hollow. Like, I was a little bit disappointed. I was like, oh, man. Hershey, if you're watching this, make one that's fully solid. I will buy it because that would be epic. But you know, imagine this volume being solid milk chocolate. Too difficult to eat. Too difficult to break into. It's different, but you know what? It's a challenge worth accepting. It's just like when I was young and you get those like Easter bunnies, the chocolate Easter bunny. Here in America, we have chocolate Easter bunnies, right? So whenever, I always want the big one, but I want it to be solid. Like, I want it to be like hollow. Like, what is this hollowness? Like, give me the solid sucker. Like, that's what I want. Like, I want it. So here's something about the Hershey Kisses. Hershey Kisses were started by Milton Hershey in 1907. Right? So 1907 is when they first came out. And they didn't have the, there's a name for this tag thing, right? And there's a saying that goes with it. The bigger the kiss, the bigger this tassel or whatever it is. And this is also patented. Like, they patented this whole design. So you really can't make a chocolate drop with wrapped in aluminum foil. Otherwise, they'll sue you. But they used to wrap them by hand. And before the tassel, in 1907, they actually wrapped paper, a piece of paper inside it with the foil. They didn't move to mechanized wrapping until 1921. So for 14 years, people were sitting there with those little teeny tiny kisses, wrapping them by hand. That sounds like misery. Well, at least it's a high level of craft. And I would be interested, like, if one of those survives, I'd love to see a picture of one, like, to see how is it different to then than now. And Hershey Kisses, they sell, I mean, Hershey sells so much chocolate around, you know, all around the world. Like I said, they're not really well regarded by the Encyclopedia of Chocolates, but I can't get enough of it. Like I will just tear into it. Like I care about product quality, but I just care about what I like too. So what else do they say here? So there's a little bit of history here. They say he started his candy business in 1894. Blah, 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 blah. Forget all that. We don't need to talk about that. Oh, also another thing, if you buy Hershey Kisses, regular Kisses, the way they do their serving size is 200 calories for 1.54 ounces, which has 7 kisses. If I remember that stat correctly. 7 kisses is 200 calories. So 7 kisses is more calories than a can of Coca-Cola, which is 130. 12-ounce cans, 130. And I will power through them. There are wrappers all over the truck. It's crazy. It's terrible. It's terrible. It's terrible. But yeah. So Kerry says, I was also disappointed when I first been to a large Hershey Kiss like that. It was, I know. So. But we're going to use this, and we're going to open it up, and we're going to make mochas because, mochas are fun. Mochas are fun. I feel like we're in a mocha kind of world at the moment. Like it's time for mochas. That time of year. Actually, he gave me a whole bunch of Hershey Kisses, and I was like, oh, we can use that for different episodes. So here let's open it up. We're going to open it up here. Hershey Kisses. That's such nice packaging. And there it is. Little thing to protect it while it's traveling. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. And just look at this thing. Look at this. Look at this. This is America right here. This is America. Just decadence. This is just decadence in the greatest form ever. Actually, I think I need to have a glamour shot. All right. That'll go on my Instagram later. So we're going to get into this now. Let's see how nice it is to tear apart. Here is Hershey Kiss. Look at that tab. It's so prettily done. They do it really. I mean, I wonder, are they packaging this? Are they wrapping this by themselves? Mechanically? Or is it one of those things where they are machined? Okay, let's open it up. Okay, I see. I don't think they wrap it like this. They don't wrap it like that in the real one. They have it actually going up, right? I should save this aluminum foil for my cooking. Look at that. That's a lot of foil. More glamour shots. More glamour shots. Oh. Yeah, see? You can hear it, the difference. Okay, one more. Okay, now you can see there's a seam. So they use a mold and they connect, and then they put them two together. They do it and then they turn them together. And then I guess this is for some kind of cooling, drying kind of thing. Let's keep this separate. We'll keep the foil to wrap it. Now, we have to get into it. And, we could use a knife, but I thought we should use a hammer. This is a masonry bricklayer's hammer. Right? So the cut is designed for, the way that this here is helped so you can chip away and break bricks in more of a straight line and then hammer. I don't know. I don't even know why I have it, but I have it. And I'm going to I did wash it. I cleaned it up nicely before we started to do this. So let's have a look here, and we're going to break into it. Watch your hands. Oh, that didn't. Oh, wow, that didn't. There we go. All right. Oh, let's go back here. So as you can see, it is hollow. Oh, wah, wah. Now, one of the things about this is that it's look at that. That's fairly thick, right? Look at that. That's fairly thick here, thicker here, a little bit thinner there. Actually, Usually in other ones that I've had, it's usually been thicker on the bottom. This is usually thicker than, but on this particular one, the sidewall, the lower sidewalls are thicker. And actually you can see here, if you can see there, I don't have the light. This is yeah, see how it's got those waves there? So it looks like it sat in its mold this way after they poured it in, and it just kind of sloped downward. So, that's interesting. It's also pretty thick here at the kiss part. So interesting. Andrew's with us. Happy New Year to you as well. Marco says that's regular size. No doubt you go to HEB, that's all they have is saying this. And so we've got a little piece of chocolate here that needs to be sampled for quality assurance. See, I could probably house this in like an hour. I'd feel ill probably, but yeah, like if I think about quality of chocolate, right? Like let's say we take this and we compare this to the Cucuy, the Colombian chocolate. It's very different. This one's actually a little bit more vanilla, a little bit more bitter. You know, eating this like this, I don't like it as much. I mean, I'm eating it, so I mean, I guess I must not like it. No, well, I'm gonna stop eating now. What I do like is that the kisses, right? Since it's been the fall, sometimes if I have a bag of kisses, I keep them in the car because it's cold. And when I love the cold kiss. Like it's cold, so it's harder. And like when you get really cold, like when you bite into it, it kind of breaks up a little bit, almost like a powdery, and then melts. Oh, I just love the whole textural journey there. But this maybe I need to refrigerate. Okay, so we got this here. Cutie says, it's interesting that more and more countries are producing really high quality chocolate. Coco, is that Iyasi or Lassi? Coco Iyasi, I'm going to say Iyasi. I'm going to presume that's a cattle. Chocolate rice made with Samoan chocolate, rice, and coconut milk is one of my favorite. Oh, so it is Coco Iyasi. Okay. Chocolate rice made with Samoan chocolate rice. You know what? We have something like that in the Philippines. That's called champurrado. Champurrado is basically using the very rustic type of Philippine chocolate that we call tablea. Tablea, they call it tablea because they produce them in tablets. And very similar to what you're saying with that Samoan style of thing is you have to crush it and mix it with the rice and some sugar and coconut. Do we use coconut milk? I don't know. I never make it, so I think we do. I'll have to ask. George Brightman says, good morning to you. Good morning, all. I seen the minute show from back in the day. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. I thought we did this, but I couldn't find it. The Plume, thank you. That's exactly the name. I'm trying to remember. So, before I eat the rest of this, we're going to make a mocha. So I got our 12-ounce mug. Now, it's a question of like, how much, like normally we have it squeezed bottle, right? Like, if I was to use this, I would squeeze into here. Now, here's the big thing. The results we're going to get are going to be quite different between this and this because this is milk chocolate. This is a dark chocolate. So this doesn't have as much milk solids put into this as this product does. So by its very nature, once we add this to our milk, it's going to dilute the chocolatiness versus making it out of this. So that's just something to keep in mind as you're planning your mocha adventures to, watch what you're just consider the chocolate and how much it is. That's why when we make the mochas for Spro, we're using the 70% chocolate because it's a higher milk, it's a higher cacao content to milk, and to sugar. Of course, we make into a ganache so that there is enough. Now, in this particular case, we're not going to make any kind of ganache. We're not going to add any other additives. We're just going to take this because this is a product that already has milk fats and sugars and all of that into it. Like if we look at the labeling, if we look here at the label, so here it says milk chocolate. Goodness, milk chocolate being with sugar, milk, cocoa butter, chocolate milk fat, lecithin, and natural flavors, PGPR natural flavors. So this has those ingredients. So it already has the milk and the sugar added to it. So that's why it's sweet, of course. So we don't necessarily want to add more of that. But if we were using, like if I use like a dark chocolate, we might add some. It's all up to taste. It's all up to you to decide what flavor profile you enjoy. And the best thing about trying to figure out your favorite way of making mocha is that you have to taste it. You have to taste it, which means that you have to make mochas multiple times with different ratios of ingredients so that you know for sure which is the right one for you, which is the one that's like, this is my mocha. And you have to do it multiple times to get there. I know it's a hardship, but I think it's a challenge that is worthy of your time. Right? Now, it says, for me, milk chocolate just tastes like sugared milk. I love a dark one. At the very least, this is why, and so that's a great point and that's why I'm saying with this, when we use this, we're going to have a very different result than using this, or since I have it here, if I use this Ghirardelli 60% cacao, right? We're going to have very different results. I don't necessarily mean the flavor, because the flavor will be very different because these are now different brands of chocolates. They have different flavor profiles. But when I talk about the difference, I'm talking about the chocolatiness of the mocha, the chocolate milk. It's different because you're starting with a product that says maybe 20%, I'm presuming 20% cacao versus 60%. I'm going to presume that this is somewhere around that same range. And then let's say the kukui that I use is 70% cacao. So there's greater cacao content in those chocolates than this one. So you kind of have to just got to know that. So you just got to add. It may mean you want to add more to offset the milkiness, maybe. But it's something you have to try. Something that I encourage you to try. Sit there for like an afternoon or morning and just make mocha after mocha after mocha. Give it to your friends. Have a taste. Give it to your family. Have a taste. Then it says, I really like the chocolate disc you suggested. 7 to 8 discs plus 10 grams of brown sugar. Perfect mocha. See, perfect. See, that's really my favorite. And that's why when I was learning the trade of a barista, this is how I learned. And this is what I learned mochas from, was using this. And that's because my mentor was like, I said, why are you using Hershey's? Like, because my whole thought was like, why are you using Hershey's? That's kind of like cheap and like low class, right? And he was like, what kind of chocolate milk did you drink when you were a kid? I said, well, Hershey's. He's like, well, that's why. Oh, and why are you using that? Because this has greater cacao content than the regular Hershey's milk syrup, right? They have another one that's milk chocolate syrup that tastes more like this, which is great if you just want to put it on, like, I don't know, ice cream or whatever, put it on your cakes or something. But if you want to mix it in with milk to make a mocha, you use that, which is this. It becomes much more diluted in intensity of chocolate, where this one doesn't. So I kind of extrapolated this approach to go for, like, as I started experimenting with different chocolates from different companies, then I went to like the higher cacao contents to offset that, because I knew that when you mixed it with everything else, it would bring that down to more of a palatable level. Most Americans don't like bitter chocolate, dark chocolate. They more like this. So by using the bitter chocolates, you get to have more result that's similar to the experience of eating this versus eating dark chocolate. That's kind of the idea behind my approach to mochas. Russell, good morning to you. How are you, man? Happy New Year. Andrew's asking, name an espresso or what size coffee? I'm going to presume, I always presume that we talk 12 ounces. So, but nobody will tell us. Nobody will tell us. George says, how long did it take you to arrive at the recipe used in the shop? I mean, it probably didn't, I don't recall exactly. It probably didn't take too long, but it took years. And when I say about years, our I think with anyone, all of us, while we may work on something actively for maybe what is going to be a relatively short time, our ability to work on those things is predicated by our experiences over the long term, right? So had I not had the experience of this, then it probably would have taken me longer, or I would have had a different path to getting to the recipe that we were using, and maybe be a completely different recipe because my frame of reference would be very different. And maybe the best way to correlate that, like in woodworking now, right? I have found over the past year, I found a local sawyer, which means that the guy is like 2 miles away from where I live, and he has a farm where he cuts his own trees or takes down his own trees that are dead, and he's got a whole selection of like walnut and cherry and all these lovely, lovely woods, highly desirable. But they're hyper local, and there's something about that I really like. And had I not had the experience of working over the last 20 plus years with the locality being a concern, or at least a component of what we do, as in other words, as a desirable aspect of what we do, I probably wouldn't have as much emphasis on it today, I wouldn't have as much value working with a local sawyer as I do now because of that, based on that experience. So how long did it take? We probably worked on it for several months, actively working on it, maybe, because you got to try different like chocolates, and I like to try a lot of chocolates. So yeah, I know that's a long answer. Yeah, a couple weeks. Keely says, I like mocha, but I haven't really tasted ones that use high quality chocolate. The ones I've tasted use the Hershey syrup. It would be interesting to compare certain coffee and certain. Yeah, it's totally, totally interesting. Like, it is really a fascinating subject. Like, I love the kokui that I showed you in the other episode, right? And I do have a fondness for this because this is where I started, right? And I don't normally make this, but I kind of enjoy it. And if I have it here and I want to have a mocha and I don't have anything else available, I'll use it. But there's so many chocolates to try. Like, for example, this Ghirardelli, I was actually munching. This is going to be an upcoming episode because I found this bag, and I've come to Ghirardelli's a chocolate maker, a pretty big chocolate maker in San Francisco, California. And since I started working with a lot more exotic chocolates, I guess you'd say, the notion of Ghirardelli has kind of fallen in my mind. Like, oh, Ghirardelli, it's nice. It's nice, right? It's nice. But I was like, oh, here's a bag. And I was like, oh, I mentioned to you before that I like to sometimes I'll buy macadamia nuts. And instead of like buying chocolate covered macadamia nuts, I'll just have a macadamia nut and eat a piece of chocolate. I was doing that last night. And I was like, oh, I got to stop eating this because I'm going to finish it. I need to use this as an episode. But flavor's still great. So it's good to go out and try different chocolates that you can get. And, interestingly enough, Keely, where you are, I'm presuming that, especially in Southeast Asia, there's more and more, like in the Philippines, I know this is true. There are other chocolate producers out there making chocolates. And some of them are, and I got to say, like in the Philippines, when I think about like tableas, I would not regard the tablea chocolate makers, as like regarded in the same way as like the super high-end chocolate companies, right? Like Noel or now I can't remember the names, but I wouldn't. But I think there's a lot of interesting stuff to offer, even when they have a little bit more of a gritty texture to the cacao. Like I think there could be beautiful flavors that are available in your part of the world. But it's always about just like any kind of pursuit, like let's say with a chef, that's developing new frontiers in cuisine, they kind of have to go out there and find them, right? And just kind of dig around. And like sometimes you have these very serendipitous events and you're just kind of like, oh, here's a great thing. Like, for example, there's a company in Missouri we used to work with a lot called Ashkenazi. Ashkenazi is a chocolate company. And, one of the things we were attracted to them because, they had this Filipino chocolate from Davao. And I was like, oh, interesting. Very, very nice flavor. But, Philippine chocolates have never really been regarded as very high quality. A lot of it has to do with because, how do people process it? Are people paying even attention to it, thinking about it in a way of quality? And I think that Ashkenazi found some farmers that they were willing to work with and was able to produce something really nice. And I think that's still out there. Like I see that in coffee all the time. Like you just got to work and kind of dig and hopefully come across the right people or the right product. So you made mocha drinks before the library days. Like when we were still doing the shave ice thing, we started developing that recipe. And I didn't make the switch to the kukui until probably 2008 or 9, maybe 2007 at the earliest. And that really came from an influence, because one of my good friends, I became good friends with this guy, this very well-known and very well-regarded chef here in Baltimore named Spike Jurdy, who owns a place called Woodbury Kitchen. And he was a big influence on me, like as far as different products. Like he introduced me to the kukui, and he was also very instrumental in being an influence in the locality and seasonality of foods and cuisine. He was a big influence because that's his big thing. So yeah, we are always a hybrid of our influences and the people that we meet. Sometimes they influence in a way that we want to emulate what they do, and sometimes we meet people that we want to make sure we don't emulate what they do. Right? So we always get to learn from pretty much everyone that we meet. Naomi says it was a double shot in a 12-ounce mug. Be still my heart. Be still my heart. Mainly because I had to melt the chocolate in the mug, and I only have 12-ounce ceramic mugs. It's as you should. You should don't go with 32-ounce. Please don't do that. There's a preciousness. I don't know. That's my Puritan aspect of it. Speaking. George says, my thoughts tends to a project where we paired both chocolate and coffee from the same region. Next year, maybe. Oh, that sounds like a good idea. I like that. We could do Thai coffee and Thai chocolate, which might precipitate a visit to Thailand. A hardship. It's a hardship trip. Sounds like a hardship trip to me. Chocolate and coffee by day, cigars on Soy Cowboy at night with my crew down at Soy Cowboy. I do have a crew at Soy Cowboy. Those of you who don't know what Soy Cowboy is, Keone will explain. Andrew says, thanks, your recipe is my start. Okay, good. Did you get those chocolate discs too? And Andrew's off to the market. So, while the kukui that I have and that Naomi got, which I totally recommend getting to have, so you can at least see what kind of psychosis I suffer under. But I do encourage you to go out and try different chocolates at all times. Like always try something different. Because what I think is beautiful and delicate and cherry and lovely, you may hate. And that's perfectly a legitimate thing. Like, we may not always have the same taste in everything. So you may find a chocolate that speaks to you with extreme greatness, right? Like, for example, but for me, at least in this application, that kukui that we have from Cordillera, which is made by a company called Nacional de Chocolates of Colombia. And that's my favorite go-to for mocha. But and while I have and do enjoy it as, like, let's say, an ice cream chocolate, I much prefer the chocolate from Noel. There's a company called Noel in Europe. I much prefer their chocolate in ice cream because, man, I will tear that ice cream up. Like, I just can't. I can't get craziness. Kiana says, George, that would be interesting. I know that they produce chocolate and coffee in Hawaii and in Thailand, where I'm familiar with. Well, maybe it has to be a season of both. I do need to renew my driver's license, so I really should. The Department of Vehicles was like, you could renew online, or you can renew by mail or online. I was like, yeah, or I could come down to Dillingham and like renew. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Booster wants to know, when do you plan to have another cigar? Oh, we kind of get together on a, well, actually, we haven't got together quite. We got together last Saturday. I don't know. We'll get together. So I'll let you know. I'll try to know in advance. Sometimes we don't really know in advance, but I'll try to let you know. Kioni says, I know several cigar lounges in Crontup. From what I'm told, they have some really, there's some nice. The one that's in the Kempinski Hotel over at the end of Sukhumvit Road, that's really nice. They have a jazz club, a jazz lounge attached to it, but you can't smoke in the jazz lounge. We went there last time. And then there's our Cohiba Club, Cohiba House. There's a house, Cohiba. Some of my friends are members there. Like that was like super. It was very posh. I was like, oh, they're very posh. Otherwise, some of my friends, they like to hang out at a bar on Soy Cowboy. Like they sit outside of Soy Cowboy, and they don't. So those of you who may be wondering, what am I talking about, cowboy? What is it, like some kind of Western scene? No, Soy Cowboy. Soy, S-O-Y, in Thai basically means an alleyway. And so Soy Cowboy it's cowboy alley, and it is one of the most notorious streets in Bangkok because it has all the go-go bars. So whether you like ladies or trans ladies, there's a taste. There's something for you on this street, and so it's filled with both workers as well as I guess what the British call punters, and there's also tons of tourists because it's a place to see and gawk at things, right? So my friends, for whatever reason, a lot of them are British. They like to sit outside of like this one club and they smoke cigars. And, the girls leave them alone. It's actually kind of funny because if you go there as a tourist or as a punter, girls are always trying to talk to you, right? They're trying to, hey, baby, what's going on? Like when I go there and I'm with the guys, like they don't bother. They say the girls talk to us. Like if we talk to the girls and ask them a question, like normal people, they'll talk, but they're not trying to, like these guys hang out there enough that they're like, I'm like, huh. So it was kind of bad because one of my really close friends is from Thailand, and she grew up there. It's like she's Thai, and so like we went to her daughter's birthday party. She invited me to her daughter's birthday party when I was there last time, and I was supposed to meet my friends at Soy Cowboy, and I was going to take the Uber or Grab, whatever it is there, and go down. And she's like, "I'll give you a ride to where we need to go." And after, and I was like, no, she's really a close friend. Like her and I used to like get into trouble and go and do things all the time. Like, so she knows me super, super well. Like we're really close. So me doing this is not totally outside of like, like she's not going to be appalled by it, but I can't help but to be embarrassed. She's like, where do you need to be dropped off? I said, Soy Cowboy. She was like, what? Yeah, the guys are having cigars. She's like, Like here, I'm a foreigner in Thailand, in Bangkok, going to Soy Cowboy. Like, are you really going to have cigars? Really? Sure you are. Sure. George says, I think we should send out a call to the online family and solicit global chocolate contributions and then go check out. Okay, that sounds good. All right, we can do that. Mocha week. I like that. Kyo says, Dillingham is too busy. Waianae substation is... Oh. Yeah. Okay, I'll go to Waianae. I can hang there now. I'm not so scared anymore. Not so scared. All right, let's make some mocha. And so we got our chocolate here. We've got our mug. This is our little mug. So we're going to break up. So the idea is that now, because it is solid, we need to break it up. And we're going to use the heat. We're going to try to use as much of the heat of the espresso to soften this, and then we need to get really hot milk to melt it all, right? Because now we need to break it up. So ideally we should break it into small pieces, but really this is kind of, in my mind, it sounded like a good idea, but in practice, this is not. What I'm trying to do is find the thinnest pieces of chocolate to break in here. And while ideally you want to take the time and break it into these small pieces, the smaller pieces, the easier it is it's going to be to melt. Really, I'm just tempted to drop big chunks in here because you know what? I'm really just looking for the thin parts just because I want you to think that I'm actually this meticulous, when really I would just be like, I don't care. I will just have to eat chunks of chocolate later. Yeah, that's a bit thick, but is that enough? That's not enough. We need more. Also, what I'm thinking about is the more that I put in here to drink means the less chocolate I get to eat. And that is causing me a level of distress that I had not anticipated. Well, these are all fairly thick pieces. Look at those pieces. They're pretty thick. Like, you know what I want? I want it to be like chocolatey. So I'm not measuring any of this. Okay, I think that's going to be a good amount, right? What do you think? All right, so now we're going to get our espresso ready. I'm going to turn the camera on. Kenny says that that's abandoned mansion where they have jazz with the adjoining cigar lounge. The jazz lounge is called abandoned mansion? Oh, okay. Yeah, that is like a sexy hotel. Like, we went to eat at this restaurant next door to it, right? So there's the hotel, and there's that garden, and there's a shopping center between. There's a garden between the shopping center and the Kempinski, and there's a great restaurant there, Rongsi Pochana, really great. Like, my friend, she recommended to me. So after that, we had dinner there, and then walked over to the Kempinski, had cigars. Great time. Can't wait to go back. All right, so let's make some mocha-ness. Oh, we need to adjust. Let's adjust this right there. Okay, good. Before we begin, we want to make sure we get our milk ready. This way we don't have to, like, when you're, a good barista wants to make sure they have everything set. Like, I like to have everything set before I start making the drink. So in this case, we have to make sure we take our spouts off because our cup is pretty tall. And that way we don't have to, do this contortion thing, which is really distressing. Oh, you know what I need to do? I need to get in here. What I really need to do is I need to replace the gasket because it's probably old and brittle, and that's why I get a little bit of leaking going on. Okay, so we got our portafilter. Make sure the basket is nice and clean. No, make sure that it's clean too. That's not important. But in here, we'll make sure it's dry and clean. Then we're going to put our coffee in. So we've got our mound here. A little bit of low on this side, but not terrible. So we're just going to sweep around. So there's our mound. We've got our little C tamper here. Again, press down. I like to just press down just to compact it slightly. And I'm also feeling the edges to see, how is the level, right, in all axes. And then once it's nice and level, then it's just time to come and give a little compression, quarter turn to polish, and then we flick off the excess, wipe off the wings, wipe off there. I just wipe off. You don't have to wipe off here. I do it because I just can't stand the mess there. And then I like to use my fingers to make sure that the rim of the basket is clean. And as I'm doing that, I'm making sure that my hand and palm are curved anytime I work with the portafilter, I always make sure they're curved so that it's not going to touch the coffee bed, right? That to me is really important to avoid that. Let's purge the brew, make sure that it's clean, water clean, and then smooth. Now, in a commercial environment, when we're working, like we always teach the baristas to purge. In this particular case, we want to purge to make sure that the water temperature is equalized, right? Because on this particular machine, heat exchange machine, meaning that the cold water supply runs through the steam boiler to heat the water. And as long as that water is flowing continuously, it should deliver the right temperature of water. When it stops, the water that's inside the tube that's running through the boiler equalizes to the temperature of the boiler, which means that it's over temperature, right? So a lot of times when you work with machines like this and you hit the brew button and you let the water flow, you'll hear it sputter because even though it's like 240 degrees pressurized, once it hits atmospheric pressure, it immediately boils because it's at boiling temperature and drops to 212. Okay, we just want to make sure there's no sputtering. We already blew through that. And then when you're working in a normal environment after with a machine that's running, you're also purging. You'll see me if like at the shops, I would purge just for a moment because I want to see if the water runs clear. As long as I see the water runs clear, that means this is relatively clean and we're not going to be doing anything with it. Now, another thing I want to prepare is the steam wand, right? We presume that the steam wand, after we've used it, has steam in it because the valve closes and the steam is just kind of stuck here. That steam, as it cools, condenses back into water, and we need to make sure that pushes that out. We only push that out mainly because we just don't want to dilute the milk in the pitcher, right? Because even though it may only be this much water in this much milk, it could have an effect. And we just want to make sure that we're getting as pure a product as you want. But of course, if that's not important to you, it's not important at all. So we let that run until it's clear. Good. Now we're going to lock, load, and then insert our mug. Okay, it's coming out. It's coming out. I think that's good. Did you notice how it kind of jumped over slightly like that? That's the flecking, or the, what do you call it? That's the whole like thing where I think we have to. All right, now we've got the milk in here, or the espresso's in here. So let's have a look here. And what we want to do is, I keep forgetting to bring a spoon with me. We want to mix that as much as we can. Right, so we're going to mix it in here. Now, the nice thing about this chocolate, it's relatively soft, so it's already breaking down in there. So that's great. Naomi says, my chocolate disc wouldn't melt well with the double shot. I had to soften the chocolate and sugar together first. Yeah, so in this case, like that's one of the things, because in your case, with the kukui, since it's 70% milk, 70% cacao, it has a higher solid ratio to sugar. So the sugar, so in milk, making milk chocolate, you're not only adding like the cocoa butter, which is white chocolate, you're also adding sugar and milk solids, right? The powdered milk, essentially. So that dilution of the cacao means that you're getting these other mixes in here. So it means that this will melt easier because it has less solid matter in it, right? Ratio-wise. So yes, you do, and that's another reason why we made the ganache out of the kukui, so it'd be easier to work with and faster to work with. Right? All right, so now that we've got our chocolate melted in this melange of espresso and Hershey's, which is quite intense. Ooh. Ooh. Like, have you ever had those? I don't know if you ever had a place. There's a place here that used to be called Gloris. Swiss guys that had a Swiss chocolating company. They had something called drinking chocolate, like these drinking chocolates, really thick, kind of bitter chocolate milks. This is like that. Oh, man, that's worthy of investigation. All right, let's go back. Ooh. That's going to be a future episode now. Okay, so we need to, let's get this rid of this. How's our puck? Looks good, nice and firm. Oh, it's a little bit over extraction, right? You can see that a little bit there means you kind of let it run a little bit long. Now we're going to like take our steaming. Can I get closer to this steaming? I wonder. The difficult part is that I have to use both hands to steam. So now I like to keep the angle. I like this angle for it somehow. Well, I don't know what angle I like, but I like it out. What I don't like is that there's not enough clearance here. So with a 20-ounce pitcher, it's always kind of getting caught like this. So that's, to me, like, that sucks. But we're going to go deep with the steam one first. Start the power. Go full power with it. And this is true whether I'm using a big commercial machine or this small one. This small one especially because it doesn't have as much oomph. So I want to go full power on it. But either way, I want full power because I want maximum rotation as possible from the milk. So I'm going to turn it on. And I'm going to drop it. You can hear the hissing. And I'm spinning the milk around in a counterclockwise direction. And I'm stretching it. I think that's enough stretching. A little bit more. Now it's getting warm. I can feel it on my fingers, which means that it's approaching 100 degrees. And now I just want to keep it rotating. And I want to make it hot. I want to make this really hot this time. So you can hear listen to it now. All right. There. You heard how it got kind of like a airplane, like a dark, deep airplane sound? That's pretty much 175 degrees. Let's move all this out of the way. So there is our milk. Fairly decent. Like there's some big bubbles in there. I can see it. I'm not totally thrilled about it, but it's better than the last time we did it. One of the difficult things I find is that this setup that I have with this, it's not more difficult to make beautiful milk foam texture on this La Valentina than it is on a commercial machine. And I will cop to being spoiled by commercial machines like the Lumberzuko. So. Okay, so now we can pour it, and it's really hot. You only want to be able to hold it. Oh, yeah, that definitely. Like, see how I can only hold it that long before it starts to burn my finger. That's right where you want it. Right. Okay, let's pour. I'm going to pour a little bit here, and if I pour a little bit, I can also pour a little bit in and stir it, just to get more consistency of that. Now I let it sit for a second, so I want to make sure that I swirl to reincorporate the foam and stuff. I'm not doing that way. I just like to do it this way. Go around and around, and now can we get something? Oh no, we can't get anything. Terrible. Look at that. That is a pelican. Yeah, pelican. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. Pelican. George says, place a chunk back in the foil, fold it over, smack with a hammer a few times. Yes, but I just want to, eat the rest of it. Yes, keep that top of your mind, the drinking chocolates. Yes. This was actually a serendipitous discovery just by tasting that little bit of milk. I was like, oh, that's actually fairly nice. So here's the way to make it. Just super simple. Here it is. We've got a little bit of latte art, not a little tiny heart deep down there, right? Surrounded by the cosmos. Right? Look at that. It's like we're in the galaxy. It's a galaxy. So See, this is the difficulty with Hershey's Kisses or Hershey's milk chocolate in general, is that we've added 2 ounces of, up to 2 ounces of espresso, maybe 8 to 10 ounces of milk to whatever amount of milk chocolate. So that milky, that chocolatiness gets diluted. This is why we use this to make Hershey style milk chocolate or mochas than using actual milk chocolate syrup, because you have to put so much. Like, I probably should have shoved this in this cup to get what I wanted, right? Like if I was, let's see, if I was to take a bite, let's say, oh, I took a bite of this. This is for reference. So I took a bite of this. Okay. Now we're talking. Ooh, okay. So that's a good key. You could take big pieces or maybe just one kiss. Put that piece, you don't eat the whole thing. Just let it kind of like, let the hot mocha melt part of it and slosh around your palate to give you more chocolate flavor. Oh, that's probably too big. Okay. I like it. That's how to do it. That's how to do it. That's a little bit better. But by itself, yeah, we need to add more of the Hershey's milk chocolate to really balance out, because it's just a preponderance of milk now, right? Which is why I kind of like normally don't like drinking mochas or lattes. I normally like baristas in Baltimore who've known me for a long time. I guess I have a reputation, right, about cappuccinos, because other people have commented about that, and I was like, huh? Because when I came to, like, at Spro, when you came to interview with me, and if you had experience, and any level of experience, if you had working in a coffee shop, if you got far enough into the interview, I would ask you to make a drink, and I would ask you to make me a cappuccino, because the cappuccino was a drink that told me so much about you as a barista, as a coffee person. Like, it told me almost everything I really needed to know, right? Because by the time that we got to the point of like me asking you to make a drink, it's gone well, right? Overall, it's gone well. I like what we've talked about. I like what you told me. I like your background. I like everything about you. And I want to see like how your skill set is. And so, you'd make a cappuccino, and we'd bring it to them, and we'd bring it to the bar and be like, hey, can you just make a cappuccino? However you know how to make a cappuccino. And I didn't care how you made it. Like, really, I didn't care whether you used, whether you called this a cappuccino or whatever. I just wanted to see how you made it. Like, because what did that tell me? It tells me your skills as a barista. Like, how did you prepare the espresso? How did you steam the milk? How did you pour it? And I would tell them, there's no right or wrong, right? I just want to see how you make it. Like, this is, and it tells me it shows me what you know as a coffee person, skill wise, because chances are, if you get to that point, we're probably going to hire you, or at least offer you a position. I mean, you still have to interview with some of our staff, but we'd probably offer you a position if that went well, staff meetings. But what that tells me is that, in order for you, the candidate, to become one of our baristas, I just need to know where you are in your skill set so that we can work with you. We can figure out a plan to work with you to bring you up to the same level as the rest of the crew. Naomi says, my daily latte is only 7 ounces, so the 12 was quite weak, but it's tastier than hot cocoa. Oh, nice. Just add more chocolate. Add more chocolate. It's okay. It's okay. Fiona says, wife just called me to go outside and celebrate the last hour of the Yes, go enjoy it. Holy Makahikiko. Happy New Year to you as well. And Swadip Mai, everyone. Have a safe one. Look forward to seeing you and everyone in the new year. Look forward to seeing you too. Thank you, Connie. Enjoy your time with your wife. Tell her we said hello. Naomi says, can we revisit the disc and try making it again? Not in ganache form. It is a shot in a 12-ounce mug. Absolutely. We can definitely do that. Did I ruin my future experiences? No. Of course. All right. It is that time, though. It is that bewitching hour. So, there's something that we do in the United States. I don't really do this around the world, but here in the United States, there's this old Scottish song called Auld Lang Syne that people sing at the stroke of midnight. Everybody likes to get together and sing "When Old Acquaintance Be Forgot." Honestly, I don't know the words. Like, I was looking them up, and I was like, "What are these?" I would try to think about the melody. I was like, I can't remember the words. I can barely remember the melody, and I don't know the words. But evidently, it's an old Scottish song that is talking about what does it talk about here? It means like days gone by. The Auld Lang Syne means days gone by. And it's more of a rhetorical question. So let's see. Standard English version, if we go through it, should old acquaintances be forgot and never be brought to mind? Should old acquaintances be forgot? And Auld Lang Syne. Yeah, see, here's the chorus. For Auld Lang Syne, my dear, for Auld Lang Syne. I can't even think about it. Usually when I'm at a New Year's party and people are singing, I'm just kind of like, for Auld Lang Syne. Like, just the part that I can remember is like, oh, man. But it's kind of about like, it's what is it? It's about, what is it about? I saw something that showed me that said what it was about, meaning that it's like, should you let go of old relationships that you haven't seen in a long time and let go of things? And, maybe, hopefully you get to let go of all the hurtful stuff that we've had in your past year and move on to better things in the new year. Hopefully 2026 will be a great time to come. I think it's going to be at least an interesting discovery. Maybe. So with that in mind, thank you very much. Good to see all of you. I hope you had a wonderful 2025, and I hope everyone's going to have a beautiful 2026. We'll give you that whole line. See you next year. But I guess that's me for today. Thank you very much. I'm very honored that you're always here, hanging out with me, talking coffee and whatever I like to babble on about. So thank you very much. I do appreciate it. And see you next year.